Good day, my beloved people. This particular talk is a call and comfort to all indigenous ex-slaves here in the United States of America, in particular, and to the whole diaspora of native so-called black of the now known continent of Africa. No matter what land we ended up on, including our native land, our captors have managed to keep us at the bottom of civilization. However, it is important to know we are still here, despite all the attempts to completely destroy us. It is time for us to stand up and do for self and shake off all of the afterbirth and present ourselves to the world as a new people, exemplifying a child is born, which will be a guiding light to ourselves first, as is suggested to everyone flying on a plane. When and should the mask drop, put it on yourself first. Then you can assist others who may need help. We say to the whole world, we are not excluding anyone. We are just putting the mask on ourselves first. That's just intelligent. I say to my indigenous children of ex-slaves, we have a lot of work to do. And those of us who are indigenous to the Americas, whether south, north, or central, don't worry. We are up to the task. 500 years have created a diamond, and it's time to shine. The first thing we must do is establish our economics base, as told by many of our brilliant minds, most notably Dr. Claude Anderson, who has must-read books, which I believe can serve as a template for our rising. Please understand, dear people, by my mentioning Dr. Anderson, I'm not ignoring any other brilliant and noble giant in our community. But it's time for us to put our egos aside for the whole. As a matter of fact, it's going to take all of us to do this much needed task. Now, beloved people, we must create a document or a constitution as our leader, for we are about the business of liberation of the whole people and not any individual or organization. We must create systems, for only systems can live once we are gone, and our people can continue to be relevant in society. I know we are owed plenty from all of the nations of the earth, but we can't wait for them to do the right thing. I've heard it all, the arguments, the pleas. Believe me, we must be wise and establish an intelligentsia and collect all the data we need to move intelligently forward. We must act as scientists who look at what was before take what is useful in today's battle, not falling in love emotionally with any past leaders. Rather, build on what they discovered and move on so our future scientists will have our legacy to build on by keeping intact this Constitution we established for our people. I know much has been said about our main priority should be education. I humbly submit that we, talking about the so called Black people in this experimental nation in which we live, are the most educated people on the earth. And we are still, as a people, on the bottom. So maybe we need to rethink that strategy, not by downplaying education, but maybe something is missing in this cake, a strategy. Might I suggest economics? I once heard Minister Farrakhan say the so called white man has been successful in preventing a certain marriage from happening within the so called Black community. And that is the marriage of wealth and knowledge. We either have individuals who have a lot of money and no knowledge, or individuals with a lot of knowledge with no money. Either way, we lose, for it takes both. So, as a community, and I use that word lightly, for we are only a community in word without substance. We need this marriage of wealth and knowledge to happen to move forward. We need to talk about these things so we can intelligently move forward on solid grounds. I know it is propagandized that we so called Blacks aren't a monolithic. That shit our enemies is feeding us. I'm sorry, we are not eating shit any longer. Let's discuss this intelligently. But there is one thing that we all have in common, and that is our so called Blackness, which was used and is used to keep us on the bottom. I suggest, as a strategy, we use what our enemies use to keep us down to lift us up. Now, let it be understood that I'm not putting myself up as a savior for so called Black people because I hear the echoes of our ignorance. That is not what I'm doing. As a matter of fact, it's quite the opposite. I suggest we do as the founders of the United States of America did and create a document or constitution we can use to go forward, not dependent on any individual or any organization, but an organic document which will outlive all of us and will be there for our hopefully thousands of years for our people. Yes, to become our own nation within a nation and establishing treaties to deal with the broader society. Trust me, we have a living strategy and legal basis to do exactly what we are talking about. This is what our ancestors longed for our people. What about reparation, one may ask? We, will also pursue that action, but not wait for it. Rather, pursue that through treaties, nation to nation, as the Indians did. What I am presenting is a viable strategy which will be discussed at length by us. We want no input from any other people, for this is our liberation. No one can come to our defense, or no one came to our defense, rather. So we will do it ourselves. The so called white man have tricked us into putting our leaders out front, but that's not intelligent. No military put their generals or thinkers on the front line to be destroyed, for when they fall, the movement ends. Let history be your teacher. Study the game of chess. We want to protect our best and only use them as a strategy and expose them only to harm, never unless absolutely necessary to win. We will not be exposing all our strategies in this post, for we didn't believe or don't believe in giving our enemy all of our strategies. Let it suffice to say or to know we are talking or taking our freedom back and are not apologetic at all for taking it back and asking and not asking for anyone outside of ourselves for permission. Dear beloved people, we can do this. Dear beloved people, we have to do this. For it's the intelligent thing to do. No one can stop us. No one will help us unless we first do for ourselves. And I understand that the nations of the world, the people of America, the government of America, have been derelict in what they're supposed to do. But understand this: when the baby comes out of the womb, it comes out naked. That baby don't start eating meat. It is given milk because that is what its little small body can handle digesting it at that particular stage of its development. So don't be dismayed that we haven't seen any big thing from Black people as a whole. But I'm saying to you that we are ready now. We can take the meat, but we are going to give the meat to us, and we are going to give it to ourselves intelligently because we are concerned about us. And we understand that others may not be. As a matter of fact, we know that in this country that we now live, we know that it's all about a race. And we as Black people, we when we think of race, we're thinking about color. But I want you to know and understand that the overall society, when they think of race, they are thinking actually of race. You know, like if you go down to the horse track, there's an actual race. And in that race, nobody wants everybody to win. They want their horse to win, or they want their dog to win, or they want their country to win. We have to know that this is a race that we are in, and we have to want us to win. Whoever comes in second or third or fourth or whatever the case may be, wonderful. We don't want it to be us. And once we are in place, then and only then can we help the others. Because if you're running a race and someone trips, it's not intelligent for you to stop the race and try to pick them up. You'll have people in place that will do that. But the race must be won. This is an economic race in this society. And we are looking at it differently than everybody else. It's like going on a basketball court playing by football rules. Just don't work. We have to know the rules of the game. And the rules of the game is that this is an economical race. We were brought here to this country for economic purposes. That is why we built this country, but we didn't benefit economically because we wasn't included. We have to include ourselves. That's what it's all about. And then we can be inclusive of all of the other things that it takes to build an infrastructure. You have to excuse me, I talk better without my teeth in my mouth, so don't be dismayed by that. But I want it to be very plain and simple and clear what it is that we have to do. So that would be all for this particular post. We hope to get much feedback from what we have presented today. That's why we took our time. And we didn't go through the dynamics of speaking. We can speak quite well publicly. But it was important that we get into the particulars of what it takes for us to evolve as a people. And we're not concerned about any individuals. And we're not suggesting that anyone step down from their individual station where they are, but that we can make use of everything that we have. And believe me, within 10 years, you won't even recognize us as a people. I don't know if I'll be here 10 years from now, 68 years old now. But that's not important. What's important is that we as a people rise up. And there are very precise tactics that we can take. Precise. Make no mistake about it. That we can take to lift ourselves up and then stand up to the rest of the world as a man and as a woman, to stand up as a nation. Because no matter how many of our people individually get wealthy, you're still looked at as niggers. Because intelligent people say, why is it that you are satisfied as individuals to rise up and your people are still down in the gutter? That's not intelligent. One of the things in my observation of the European people that came here to this land, as evil and wicked as they were, they had a sense of community. They looked and they saw what they needed in their community, then they looked for the best minds that they had in children in their younger generation. And they sent them together. They sent them to school to become, if they needed a doctor, to become a doctor. If they needed a dentist, they got a dentist. They sent them for a dentist. If they needed a lawyer, they sent them to school to become lawyers. Whatever it is that they need to solidify their community, they sent their children to school to get that education. Now, mind you, they didn't send them to school to become doctors and lawyers and scientists, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, to enhance another community. They sent them to school to become doctors and lawyers and scientists for their community. And that is the mistake that we made in the past, back in the 60s and 70s. We went and got our education and off to the white community we ran with, with the intent of living a better life, not knowing we could have stayed within our own community and built that up and presented to the rest of the world what we were about. Now, I know we've had our Black Wall Street and people have came in and they've destroyed it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But we're not going for that anymore. We have to let the whole world know that we are not that same people. We have to let the police department know no more. There's no more useless killing of blacks. We are not accepting that any longer. The time is out. We have to be about building our community, establishing our community. I don't care if we have to remigrate out of these big cities, which is quite damn unnatural, believe me, and reestablish ourselves. I don't know. We have to talk about these things. But there are ways we can do it where we are. But is it best to go into a city where I used to live in a part of in New Jersey, in a city where maybe the homes in the community was going for 80, 70, 80, 90, $100,000. They came in regentified, and all of a sudden, the $100,000 homes are now $400,000, $500,000, and that's okay for them. But it would be stupid for us now to go to where they have now homes for $500,000, $400,000, and give them that money. They take that money and go somewhere else, further out into the suburbs, and leave our communities just as they left them before. So there's a lot that we have to discuss. I'm going to be personally reaching out to a lot of our people so that we can begin strategizing on how it is that we can do what is necessary to pull the whole community up. We are no longer interested in individuals. We are interested in bringing the whole community up. You bring the community up, then by the community rising, we can create the jobs, et cetera, that is needed for individuals to rise. We're basically talking infrastructure. So, beloved people, I could talk to you for hours because there's much to discuss. But it's not important that I discuss it. What's important is that we get together, organize, get our constitution in place. Now, when we deal with the broader society, we then decide who is going to police the neighborhood and establish a criteria for those individuals to come down there and deal with our community. It's like I lived up in the New York area. Don't you know that the police, when they come down to Chinatown, they have individuals they have to call in Chinatown before they go sending their troops in the area. The same thing about the Jewish community, any community other than ours, because we are not organized. We are not letting them know that we believe in an eye for an eye. So if you come down in our community and you shoot one of our innocent people, I'm saying innocent, you had best turn yourself in and confess. But we are not taking that anymore. This message also goes out to our misguided brothers and sisters within the Black community. Senseless, useless killings have got to stop. Time is out for that. We are no longer going to let our community become victim of savages. People, it's time. And what we are talking about is what must be done, not what should be done. This is what must be done so that our children don't look at us as foolish people. Peace be unto you.